So it begins. We've already scraped away the remnants of our Thanksgiving decorations to make way for Christmas. Stores have restocked their shelves, dusted off their old records of Christmas songs, and now playing somewhere near you a Christmas song that you probably know. One you would probably join in and sing or tap your feet to, hopefully not. Now, I'm not surprised at how quickly we've shifted into celebrating Christmas. Look, I know people who are more than happy to play Christmas music in the middle of July. Maybe you're one of those people. I'm not offended by it. In fact, I love it. No, I'm not surprised that so many people celebrate Christmas. By some estimates, in the US right now, 9 in 10 Americans celebrate this holiday. Not to mention other parts of the world where people take it seriously. For example, back home in my country, in Jamaica, or other places. What surprises me though, is how badly we tell the story surrounding the birth of Jesus. The most significant event in the history of the world is now a confused jumble of crazy, unbiblical ideas. Luke sets the basis for dealing with the uncertainties and false theories surrounding the birth of Jesus. His passion for clarity can be seen in the style of writing. He says in writing to this Theophilus, Luke chapter 1, verse 1, "Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile an account of the things accomplished among us," this reading from the NASB. By the time of Luke's writing, many narratives are already written telling the same story. Luke acknowledges that there was enough information circulating at the time that if one wasn't interested in digging a little deeper, they could settle for what was already there. He could have told Theophilus to grab some of the already available manuscripts and avail himself of the plethora of information at his fingertips. Luke says, just as they were handed down to us by those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and servants of the word, Luke 1 and verse 2. These manuscripts were handed down by people who saw in action what they had written down on scrolls. Those who had written were careful with their records because God was in town. Can you imagine being a note taker in a class where God is teaching? I would be the type of student who would raise my hand and say, God, can you please repeat that? In other words, you should want to make sure you get all the details right. You should ensure that you do not miss one piece of God's story. I imagine the disciples hanging on to every word, knowing their lives depended on it. I would imagine them organizing meetings with everyone who saw it happen so as not to miss any detail. From birth to death and beyond, they would capture the story of Jesus, which would captivate the world. John would put it this way: in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1 verse 1. Luke says further, it seemed fitting for me as well, having investigated everything carefully from the beginning, to write it out for you in consecutive order, most excellent Theophilus, so that you may know the exact truth about the things you have been taught. Luke 1, 3-4. This is where Luke is different from all of us. His actions regarding the story of Jesus illustrates a faithful Christian's attitude regarding the life of Jesus. First, he includes himself among his predecessors. Luke is not like the people who are now throwing away the old teaching, saying that they are out of date with modern trends. He's not like those who seek to tell a different story, but one who is seeking to make his contribution by putting all the pieces together. In other words, Luke is studying the ancient writings, writing on the basis of Scripture. Second, he investigated everything carefully. Luke begins where no other disciple began. He started with John the Baptist's parents because he wanted the world to know that the story of Jesus' birth is much larger than just a small family celebration. It starts in the sanctuary because this has more to do with deliverance than it has to do with tradition. Luke followed things closely because he knew that the things written had to do with the salvation of others. When you know that you're dealing with matters of life and death, you must be careful about how you tell the story of Jesus. John says the whole story was given to us for this reason. But these have been written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that believing you may have life in his name. John 21, verse 31. Do you really know the Christmas story? Do you know and understand why Jesus was born? Do you realize the meaning of his coming to this earth as a babe and what that has to do with you? Do you believe he is more than a child to be celebrated with a king who deserves your worship, your honor, and your loyalty, your heart, your mind, and your soul? Do you understand and know that he loves you enough to die to save you? This Christmas, go back to the Bible. Look at his birth story again. Observe the details, highlight the facts, and experience the life-changing power of such a miracle. Lastly, Luke investigated the entire story to tell it accurately. When you know who Jesus is, you can create a world of difference in the lives of those around you. This is the crazy part. When you go on a quest to investigate the details of Jesus' life, your life will be changed, and you'll become eager to tell it to someone else. This Christmas, look at the life of Jesus again. Slow down. Get the details. Let go of the things you already think you know, and join me as we look deeper into the story of Jesus' birth as we talk about the prayers surrounding Christmas.